Hello, friends. This episode is going to be a little bit different. What happens when your significant other is a tunes person, or maybe not really into music or sound much at all, but you're an audiophile? What compromises do you make? How do you get along? How do you figure things out? How do you cohabitate with this very interesting hobby? Now, somebody asked me, what does the word audiophile mean? And I said, I think it means different things to different people. To me, I love music and many different types of music. Jazz, classic rock, classical music, just a wide variety of music. But an audiophile not only likes their music, but I think that they also care very deeply how that music sounds. And they want to get the best sound that they can. And yeah, I think gear plays into part of it, and it's maybe a combination of factors. So that was the definition I gave of an audiophile. Now, when I met my wife 30 years ago, I was into audio in a big, big way. In fact, I had just ventured into this new surround sound thing. And I had a Pioneer VSX 9700 receiver with Dolby Pro Logic. And I was getting into, this was the beginnings really of surround sound. And Pro Logic was, you can think of it as, you had your left, center, right channel, and then a mono surround channel in the rear. And I didn't have a center channel. I just had left, right, and that. And I had Bose 901s and a pair of realistic T100 tower speakers. And I had this massive projection TV. I forget who made it. Just this huge all-in-one box thing. But my wife was like, why do you have all this stuff? She didn't care for surround sound, still doesn't to this very day. She says it freaks her out, which is going to be hard trying to talk her and let me set up an Atmos system in our bedroom. But that aside, she was brought up in a very small rural town, and her father was very strict and very much the very old country music. And so when music was played, it was strictly country. It was strictly either like a gospel type music or country music. And that's what she was exposed to. And she never really, they're never exposed to any kind of what we'd call hi-fi even back in the day. And if she did listen to some pop or rock, it was either on an AM transistor radio or maybe on a car radio, something like that. And there was songs she liked and songs she didn't. And I think that's true for a lot of people of that generation. Today, it's all streaming music and, listening with earbuds on a phone. And that tends to suit tunes people very, very well. So how do you get through that together when, I'm chomping at the bit to get new gear and that kind of thing? Well, there was this, after we married and we had a business and we threw ourselves together into the business, and then we sold everything and traveled the country for a while and started another. I got out of audio, almost completely got out of it, and she didn't care. Like I said, if a favorite song came on the radio, that was great. And I was, busy doing my thing, trying to make a living. And so when I decided to get back into audio a couple of years ago, she's like, why? What's the sudden interest in stuff? But you know what? That desire to have audio, to have it part of your life, never goes away if you're not truly an audiophile, right? And things have improved so much in many, many different ways over the years. And so now, here I am making videos about audio, and I'm reviewing different products. And it's not that I know how everything out there sounds. I just review things that I buy and use and tell you what I think about it. But with her, if I want to get a new piece of gear, like I just bought a pair of Wharfdale Linton speakers that I'll be reviewing in the future, it really was a big discussion as, because in her mind, why do you need this stuff? Why do you need it? What's wrong with the speakers? What's wrong with those Bose 301s you just had to have? What's wrong with those Clips 600Ms that you bought, the RP 600Ms? Why now do you have to have these? Is this going to stop? Are you going to keep spending more and more money on this stuff? What are you going to do with the old stuff? I mean, that's her perspective. She doesn't quite get it. What about all those headphones that you have? You have headphone after headphone after headphone. And let's not even get started on buying music. And I recently got back into vinyl. I last fall acquired a vintage turntable. I fixed it up. It's not a top-of-the-line record player by any stretch of the imagination, but it's direct drive, and it's semi-automatic. And then come December, I'm like, I think I want something a little bit better. And I really don't trust vintage record players that much, especially if you buy them off of eBay and those kind of places. And so I really had to put on my salesman's shoes to talk her and let me get a new Fluence RT85. And to her, $500 is a lot of money to spend on a record player. Well, you know what? To a lot of people, it is. If you don't have $500 of disposable income for a record player, but in her mind, it's one step further. Why would you invest in something that's old, outdated? Why? What's this whole vinyl thing? This took things to a whole nother level. Okay? You got the CDs. You've been buying up CDs like crazy. You've got a really nice CD player. You got this Apple Music thing going on. You have plenty of music. You don't need a record player, another record player. You got that old one you bought for $20. You see what I'm coming from? These are the challenges when you live with somebody, your partner just doesn't care about our hobby. And it's probably the same, whatever, hobby. Maybe you're into classic cars, or, or you're into fishing and hunting stuff, or golf. How do you justify the price tag of this stuff? And we have a relationship where I don't hide anything from her. But I've heard stories of people that have a hobby and they'll buy something but have the bill sent to a different address so their significant other doesn't find out about it. Or they lie about, these Wharfdale Lintons were only $300 a pair. Yeah, she ain't gonna buy it. She gets right on Google and finds out what this stuff costs. So I can't lie about that. Once in a while she gets it, like the Hi-Fi Man Edition XS headphones. And I put on some music that I knew she did like, and I had her sit down and listen. She goes, I can see a slight smile come to her face. She kind of got it. But she is, first and foremost, always going to be a tunes person. And investing in this just makes absolutely no sense to her. So it's all about making compromises. She'll want something that I don't really care about. She's into remedies, natural remedies, and all this kind of stuff. And you can spend a lot of money on different herbs and vitamins and stuff. You can really spend a whole lot of money, but normally it's in smaller increments over a longer period of time. So we've kind of compromised. I said, tell you what, I make a certain amount of money pretty much consistently each month off this YouTube channel. Let me take that money and reinvest into gear that I will use, right? I'm not the type to just buy gear, review it, and sell or get rid of it. But gear that I use, and then and we'll do the same with your hobby. And that's kind of the happy medium that we reach now. As far as enjoying the music, I have a home office. I have my systems in here. One I use for testing different stuff, and another is my Vintage Pioneer audio rack, which that's my pride and joy. But I keep the music down fairly low because she's on the other end of the house most of the day working in her home office, so she doesn't hear it. Right? She doesn't hear it. She never comes in and listens, and that's okay. We're at that stage in our lives that we can enjoy what we enjoy on our own, and then we have things we enjoy together. And for her, that's going to be upgrading the home theater, but she's still not sold on Dolby Atmos and surround sound. She really just feels that'll freak her out. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't think it'll freak her out. I think she'll love it. She's more into movies and TV shows, and so I'm going to put in a nicer home theater for her. We're going to go with a larger television and Dolby Atmos. Probably do a sound bar. We're not going to invest in it's a bedroom. We're not going to put a huge system in there, but it'll be good for what we do. And I'll make a video about that when the time comes. So I'm asking you in the comments down below, what's your relationship with your significant other when you're talking about audio gear and music and sound reproduction? Do they go along with you? Do they love it too? Or are they just tunes people or could care less? I'd like to know your experience with this kind of thing in the comments down below. Bruce Naylor, the Boomer Consumer. Thanks so much for watching. Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for watching this video. Bye-bye.